In today's video, I'm going to be sharing how we did $71 million in our info coaching business, but broke our sales team. By the end of this, you will know what to do and what not to do to scale your sales team. And I'm going to go through the offers we use to scale from 0 to $1 million a month and then $1 million to $3 million a month. Then I'm going to go through the different management structures we used across these scales, and then some of the pain points we felt and what you can learn from them. And then I'm going to do some quick data on booking, showed, offered, close, and some of the general practices. And then a shameless plug because we are hiring a sales manager right now. All right. Last year, we did $30 million in cash collected. The business as a whole has done over $71 million in cash collected in total. I'm not selling anything, all right? Only reason I make these videos is to share what did work, what didn't work, and what we're actively doing to scale to $100 million a year with the goal of finding top talent, like I'm asking for today, opportunities, and build a network of cool people doing the same. All right, so let's get into it. So we have done 71 million in total cash, almost 72 now, and our sales team has done close to, it's over, I believe it's 70 or like 69.5, something like that, because some of it was low ticket prior. So how this all started, quick overview, is we decided to launch a call funnel that was selling a $497 info product, which is crazy behavior if you think about like economics and cost per, but it worked at the time, and we only did it at a small scale. So the cost per call was so low, closing rate was so high, and we were just like so in pocket that it made sense. We quickly then jumped up to $997. At this time, we are taking phone calls, like us as, you know, I was number 4 or something like that in the company, or 5, somewhere in that range. So the founders are taking it, I'm taking it, and some of the initial team are all taking sales calls to get these numbers, right? We then upped it to $1497. And at that time, that is when this is the number and price we were at by the time they got to $1 million a month. Okay. So we were cranking insane volume of this and then a version of pay plans of this, all of an info product. So it had really good, there's very limited cost to fulfill. So the margin was good. It was basically just ad cost and a sales rep. Okay. We then transitioned over to coaching, and I believe in the beginning we were selling at around $5,000 for the year, upped it to $6,200 quick thereafter, and then up to $7,200. And between these two ranges is when we got up to around $3 million a month. We technically did 3.7 at our peak month, and that was in Q3 of 2024 in this range. So we did 3.7 here, but really it was new rev that came from the sales team was around down here because we ran a special internally. So just to be transparent. So the management throughout that. So you have 0, you have $1 million at around this, and then you have 3 million up here and the different offers that we were selling at the time. And at one point we were overlapping. So management, in the beginning, it was us. We were taking the sales calls and we were running the sales team. Okay. So we did that for a while. Like for the first 30 to 50 reps, me and one of the co-founders were leading the entire sales team. We were taking calls and then got out of that, and then we're ramping them. We were interviewing, group interviewing, ramping. I was doing all tech setup. I was running office hours, doing, you know, tech help and teaching them how to do it. At the time, we only hired from our customers, which was like great because at the time, this was an easier sales cycle, so it didn't require as much sales skills. But if you had the product belief, you were already a customer, it just converted really, really well. So we focused on that at that time. And then one of the top reps, just like already had management experience, was creme de la creme of closing, crushing it. And we made the mistake of, which we didn't know at the time, but like supposedly, I say it's a mistake because supposedly you're just not supposed to do this. She was great. She did a really good job. You know, there ended up being some issues with it, and that's why we ended up changing it. But you're never supposed to make your top rep or a high performer also a manager, and we didn't know that, so we did that. But she crushed for us. She was doing, you know, $300,000-$400,000 a year as a closer, plus a little bit of management override basically. But yeah, so top rep, and that is where we were hitting $1 million months, was with this setup. After that changed, we basically had to rebuild the sales team because there was a culture issue that occurred throughout this. Like when we lost this, we also lost a grouping of other people. And yeah, I'm getting all good people. All this to say, when I'm up here, like our sales team broke, whatever, a little clickbaity, but like I just want to explain the transition of what is going on with us currently, what happened with us. And, you know, everyone is doing their role as best as they can to their capacity. And this is not to, you know, shit on anyone or any structure being wrong. And this is full responsibility on us, on the people we put in place, the structures we gave them, the comp models, everything. I am taking responsibility for that. Not to say that anyone here is doing anything directly like wrong or didn't perform. So agencies, we had 2 different agencies that we tried. One was basically just like full outsource and kind of like coaching in on us while we ran it internal. Didn't super work, was like okay, but we got some good tactics and things. And then we hired one that was like a full outsource or full agency that would actually do the whole model for us and like come in and like run all the meetings and do all that. And after a bit, they're like taking on more clients, and that's really, really popular right now in the internet marketing space, is like people who do this, like this remote or, multi-management, basically, like almost as like a sales agency. And again, some of those guys crush, like both in their own business and are doing hundreds of thousands a month for themselves and then also for their clients. So shout out to them. But for us, both of the people that we use were like, oh no, you need an internal. So we got somebody who had experience in this and already was running a pod within a larger company that was more than our revenue. So at this point, we're only at like $1 million. So we brought in a sales manager that was doing about 3 times our overall volume in just one pod of another company. And he came in as full manager and rock star. So he was the transition from here to here. And within that first year, he brought us from 1 to 3 million. Okay. So that is that. I don't think you'll see it in this one, but there's another chart that has the 12 million. That was the year prior. So he led the charge on that, hired, managed all of the things for that growth. Okay. Now he's the first person we've ever hired. I'm pretty sure. Ever hired that came in with experience. Everyone else within the company was like basically every time we hit a new record, it was their personal record too, me included, 100% me included. So he was the first person we ever hired with experience, came in, ran the playbook, and could, basically say, oh yeah, I did it over here from this to this, and now I'm going to implement those systems, and it worked. So that was like a big light bulb moment for us. It was like, oh, okay, so this does work. We now have, we have the facilities for that to be able to pay for good talent and set up and write performance models to get people paid and to get the performance we want. So yeah, as that scaled, we got to too many basically like direct reports. So then had pods. So we had different current closers that were like high performers that then were also pod leaders of, I want to say it was like 12 to 15 under each, because we got up to like 30 closers. Now we scaled too heavy. I think I put that in this pain section, but we scaled too heavy into the people, and like there wasn't as high of an output per person maybe as would have been like a crazy high performing sales team that was numbers driven, but like momentum was there. So like the closing rates were there, like it was there, at least to what our expectations were at the time and what like the average was. So the average was high in our minds for what that like in our frame of reference. And again, we had never done these numbers. We only knew our numbers here, and then now all of a sudden we're selling coaching, which is like a different number or a different percentage and all that. So that's what we knew at the time. So pain around end of Q3 into Q4, marketing exploded. We had big acquisition issues, and I could talk for a long time about that, but we had issues around the pixel. We had issues around volume. We were getting capped when we were optimizing for certain events. We transitioned over to the native events. We had agencies that were crazy billables while the CPA was going up. So we're like burning 100 and whatever thousand a month paying an agency while also the CPA is rising. So like double whammy, we're just getting railed. And again, that's on us because we agreed to these comp terms. We agreed to have people, we could have fired anybody anytime, right? And in any direction, and like tried to rehire or done it ourselves. And like, we clearly didn't have the skill to do it. We didn't hire correctly to do it. So that's on us. At that time, we had also just moved everyone from 1099 to W-2 for a future focus, for legality coverage, for all the things. It's just like the book would say it's the right thing to do. And so we did. So we moved everyone to W-2, and that then created bases. And when marketing volume is half, the smart thing to do would have been basically offboard people so that the volume stays high with the performance people. And we didn't do that. We kept people at bases. We were okay with paying bases even if volume wasn't there. So both the close rates and the stuff were not necessarily where they needed to be, and the volume too. So it's another double whammy, not good. So that was a big pain point and still kind of continues. It creates a comfort mentality of where you can just make a base no matter what instead of like an eat what you kill. But I think it creates a better like fostered culture. Everyone gets benefits. Everyone gets 401k. We're a long-term company, right? We're a long-term company, right? So it was in the best interest of both the future and that, but in the short term burned a lot. Trainer confusion. We started throwing shit at it left and right. We were hiring this trainer, hiring that trainer, trying to have them come in. They're on different scripts, whether the sales manager is like into it or not. Like they like portions. So they're saying, just listen to this, and we're paying 10 grand or 20, like just bad. Volume versus quality for the longest amount of time, even kind of to this day. Like we're at, 170 something, whatever, a lot of bookings per day in 30-minute increments, even though the calls on average will close in 40 something minutes. So people put like differentiator blocks between them and all this stuff. And we've always focused on this, and now we're leaning more towards a quality approach. So like confirming every call prior, taking them off calendar, doing that. Like all the top guys always say, we did not do that. We were dumb. And Now we're trying to be a little smarter and learn from our mistakes. And then ramping. When we were doing this, we were just ramping left and right. We're just going this, like just trying to get people in, high churn, high whatever. And that was actually technically when we were 1099, a little bit on W2, but it slowed down a lot then when we were 1099. So it's like in, out, in, out, in, out. We have we're on sales ID hundreds of something. So we've done a lot there. So that's kind of the general gist of what has got us there. And then now we're back in pocket. I made a video saying we did 1.6 last month, which is really bad for us. And I've got all my data over here, so excuse me for looking or talking in this direction. And now it's really just coming down to consistency. So we are at the point where I just posted this, where we're hiring for this position, and this is April 25th of 2025. We are hiring for somebody to take this role. Our sales manager got us to where we are today. He's an absolute rock star, but where his heart is and where his direction is, he wants to go do his own thing and like scale into his own thing. And we support that, right? Like people grow people, and like go do your thing. So we support that, and he is being, awesome about an overlap transition. So we're looking for someone who's going to take us from the 3 to the 10 million a month range, or technically, closer to 2 right now in current model. So that's what we are hiring for right now. So just as kind of like an overall where we got to and where we are today. We're looking for the consistency. We're looking for the performance savage mentality. We're looking for someone who can like entrepreneur full run this thing. Also during this entire time, we had a setter in the last month. We've had a setter division completely built from a really experienced performance hire. And that just goes to show they're a complete entrepreneur. They're running their own whole division. They're onboarding, they're ramping their own people. They're managing their own people, and it's working. It is working extremely well, and the math backs out for us and for me as the person who runs that, which is good. So I'm just going to go through some quick numbers on this and just kind of like laugh a little. So you got your booking to your showed. Everything's a funnel. You've got your booking to a showed, which different companies will have a 30% up to an 85% of showed calls. Once someone shows, the offer rate will be anywhere from 30% to 90%, which again, crazy variance. And then once someone is offered, there's a 5 to 40% close rate. These crazy averages. Okay. So like these are numbers I pulled from random different groups and like what I've heard and people who DM and all that. And the different things that are driving these is so different based on offer, based on flow, based on everything. But basically the framing of how the booking is coming in and the source in which it does, it will completely determine the show rate. So framing in the sense that, if you show up, you're going to get a free car. You're going to get a 99% show rate or whatever, if it's actually believable. Source being if you're just ramming them in through somewhere, or you just like auto book people and they don't even know about the call. Like think in extremes. It's way easier for me if I think in extremes to like what direction the percent would go. If the source was someone got auto booked versus the source was like they had to call someone in-house 14 times to get this booking and they finally got it, like they're going to show, right? So a big difference for us right now. The low ticket ascension stuff, very high. When talking to a setter, the framing they come in, the expectation for the call, why they're there. And then also the DTA is actually much lower, which makes sense because it's less friction. They just land here. They can consume or not consume the VSL before they do an application and book. I have other videos on the channel talking about what funnels we're running, how we're running them at scale, where we're at. So framing and source. Once someone is showed, the offer rate is going to land somewhere in quality and, playing God. So if the quality is not there, they're not going to offer them. And then there's also kind of a double-edged sword. Our sales or our director for outbound said this the other day, and he was like, people playing God, like thinking that someone can't afford it when maybe they can on financing, maybe they can in general, and you just don't know. So quality and playing God in that way for the offer rate, and then objections and follow-up for offered to close. So are you able to handle objections? Do you have the skill of doing it? Did you take authority in the call? Did you do all those things? And then managing your pipeline for those that need the follow-up. Someone is going to be able to give you this 50 times better. I'm just going to share like our version of this. So for us, we're constantly working on showed. And again, someone is going to be able to do this 50 times better. There are people that do 3, 5, whatever million a month teaching all of this only. And I'm not here to teach you this. I'm here to talk to you about our numbers and some simple ways to do this. There's 40 things that go into a show rate. There's 40 things that go into an offer rate. And there's 40 things that go into a close that I don't even know about. All right. So I'm just talking from where my understanding is of the level and some of the simple things that we can, cover the 101 version. So 30 to 80% show right now, we're humming in like this 50, 60 range. And when things are dialed, it's in the 70s. So the good pockets, like I said, source is getting 75. The bad pocket, the DTA, the thing we're testing, is getting like 40. So it's like, oh, okay, interesting. So the blended shores out to there. For the offer rate for us, it is actually very low right now, which is like we're being told is not good and something we just like didn't really know. And that's both a mix of quality as well as a sales rep skill and team like understanding and culture. So that is, again, sales manager opportunity. And then the live call close rate is low, right? So it's not, a general KPI is 20. A lot of like sickos say it should be 30. Ours is below both of those. So it's something we're actively working on and we're building out. And that is both in sales team, that is both in sales training, that is the people who are doing it, that is the expectations, that is all of the things. Okay. So there's so much room on here, and we're looking to bring on the right person who can run a performance culture, run the entire thing inside of the company. Because we're trying to take this thing to, 10 million a month. So right now we are humming and sitting where we're at. The marketing is there. It's basically ready to take off, but we can't scale marketing until we get feedback from sales in terms of literal closes. We scale everything based on the marketing dollar or the cash collected dollars on the back end as the feedback loop, not, oh, it's the cost per booking. Like, yes, that's important, but what's more important is what is it back into? What's the ROAS? What's the CPA on different ads, different flows, different funnels? And that is how we are able to get the feedback to lean into and scale. And right now, because of the inconsistency within the sales portion of the percentage, we'll have the same amount of bookings 4 days in a row, and we'll go from 15 to 7 to 15 to 5, right? So once we have consistency there, we are then able to lean into pockets that have lower cost per acquisition, and ideally also, lower, I guess it doesn't matter as much, but like lower other metrics as a lead runner, because we'll know. So hopefully that was a little helpful. Daily update. Oh, I decided I'm not going to put the numbers on here so people can't just skip to that. So you got to hear it. But yesterday in total, I got to pop it. Yesterday was, I think, 60. Yesterday was 7 units and 59 units. So 7 high, 59 low. And yeah, about 60 Gs. So today's off to a ripper though. Back to what I'm saying. It's like low day, high day, low day, high day. We've had 2 or 3 days over 100 already now in the last couple. So we're in the right direction. Like I said, I have a full conviction in that. And that's that. So if you know anybody, I may have filled this by the time that this, is actually getting views in a couple days, but we're on the hunt. We want somebody who has the same drive and passion and stuff we do about building businesses and about serving people. We have hundreds and thousands of reviews. It's a good product. It's a good business. So X is where to find me. And then I also made this doc, www.ryanclogg.com/doc. And you can see all the videos, all the topics, all the things. All right. So hope that was helpful. Again, I'm not the guru of any of this. There are people that's the reason I have never really done it. I'm not good at it. Or I'm not the best at it. I've sold, but that's it. So someone else can teach you how to do this and understand this better. But this is just our story, our journey, and where we're looking to grow. So appreciate you guys. Talk soon.